From the same creative minds of Persona 3, 4, and 5, Metaphor ReFantazio has been one of the most anticipated RPGs on this channel. I got to play it early thanks to Sega, and I have a lot to tell you about it. So by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly if this is the game for you. Thank you, Sega, for sponsoring this video, and that doesn't mean that what I'm gonna say is gonna be filtered. I'm saying exactly what I think about my experience with Metaphor ReFantazio. And if you want to check it out for yourself, I'm gonna pin the demo for you in the description box as well as the pinned comment, so you can get a little taste of what this game is all about. So starting with the story, and we always do spoiler free here, the setting is the United Kingdom of Uchronia. The king has been assassinated and the land experiences a never seen before reality where now literally anybody can be elected as king. All you have to do is prove yourself worthy by winning the royal tournament for the throne. You, the protagonist, are accompanied by the fairy Gallica, and you're trying to break a curse that has fallen on the prince who you believe should be the rightful king. So time is ticking, you need to break the curse before it's too late and he dies, and now you're just mixed up in this mess in ways that you did not expect to be. I will keep the characters from being the center point of this video because they each have their own story unfolding and I want you to experience it for yourself. But in summary, keeping things very spoiler free, you have different characters that will join your party and each have their own background, problems, and aspirations that are interesting to know. And we follow this up by the amazing presentation here. When we were streaming Metaphor ReFantazio's demo, my community and I kept saying that the cutscenes felt like an anime literally unfolding before our eyes. And that's accompanied with an amazing OST that will take you on a roller coaster journey. You're gonna see your emotions being filled with happiness, excitement, sadness, worry, and anticipation of what the story will throw at you next. Sound effects are well done as well, with the characters grunting, the satisfaction of finishing a battle and hearing the sound of victory, footsteps while exploring the world, and the eagerness of seeing what item you might have collected when you opened up that treasure box. The experience is delivered through segments which are voice acted, and you can choose to go with either Japanese or English. I went with English because that always helps me just be more focused on the story. And then you have other segments where you're gonna be reading some dialogue. I really enjoyed the banter between the characters, whether it was during more serious times, more heartfelt moments, and other times where they were just simply teasing each other. And I appreciate that the protagonist is voice acted. It brings a lot more life into him as opposed to him being silent. Adding to that, the visuals are stunning. The color palette is subtle, so you don't have colorful graphics, and this reflects the reality of the world. The darker color palette makes the problems that the citizens are facing that much more serious. The menu is handsome, as we prefer to a good menu system on the channel. It has such a unique feel to it, and you're gonna definitely see a bit of Persona 3, 4, and 5 resemblance in it.
The audacity!
Ready for anything. Let's meet it.
You dare defy Count Luis?
Nurture thy bond with her, and a new power yet slumbering within thee may awaken.
While traversing the world, you have a mini-map, a region map, and a world map. The mini-map cannot be rotated, so that made it very difficult for me to navigate my way at times, because I'm usually used to a map rotating automatically in the direction that I'm going in. The region map, however, lets you fast travel between locations you have previously visited, and it makes traversal that much easier. You can sprint on foot or use the sword and dash using that. However, when you sprint, a small area around your character is gonna be clear, whereas the surrounding area is gonna be blurry. And that gave me severe motion sickness. As you know, I always struggle with that, so I had to be laser focused at my character and not look at the surrounding area, which made it a bit bothersome, and I had to take breaks because I felt nauseous. And as we talk about the graphics, I'm gonna also talk about the dungeons. They were pretty varied, they were also coupled with different monsters, and these offer a welcome change. I really don't like when a game throws the same 2 to 3 dungeons at you and act like you're in a completely new one. These were actually very fun, and while exploring the dungeons, you have different blue sparkles on the map to collect, and these usually give you unique items, from artifacts you can sell for a good amount of money to items that you can consume to give you extra HP, MP, remove buffs, and cure ailments if your party has been inflicted with any. And speaking of the dungeons, we have to talk about the bread and butter of this game, which is the combat. I'm a complete noob when it comes to turn-based games. I'm always intimidated by them, and I have to say Metaphor ReFantazio made it such a welcoming experience for me, and I'm so happy happy that it's that way. So first off, you have different difficulty levels to choose from to cater the gameplay to how challenging you want it to be. I went with the storyteller version, which made things challenging enough, yet still accessible. And the game does an excellent job at introducing you to combat mechanics gradually, which makes you feel relaxed rather than overwhelmed. And trust me, this is so necessary because there are so many gameplay mechanics in this game, so having good pacing is crucial. And lastly, the mix between turn-based combat and action-based comes in handy. If an enemy is at a lower level than you simply slash them with your sword, you still get your rewards, and you don't have to worry about grinding through turn-based combat. And the combat starts with your party composition. Each member can choose an archetype, which are the classes in this game. For example, you have a brawler who's excellent with melee, or a healer who is great as a support character, or you can go with a mage if you like to use spells, and there are a few more as well. And here's the thing, the game is gonna actually invite you to try different archetypes and switch up your composition. So you can change your archetypes by using mag, which is an in-game currency, apart from the main currency that you use in the shops. This mag is collected during combat and when you enhance your bond with characters. And you might ask, like, what's the characters got to do with the archetypes here? Basically, whenever you meet a new follower or an ally that you can have a bond with, you unlock a new archetype because of them. Your archetypes can reach rank 20 before they hit mastery, and once they do that, you can increase your bond with the character attached to that archetype and then unlock a, let's say, sub-archetype or subclass. You can also buy armor and gear to maximize the amount of strength, defense, and all the other stats that your archetype can have, and by paying mag, you can switch to a new archetype if you want to, and then you can choose which skills to inherit from previous ones that you've used. Your characters can also level up and increase their strength, agility, endurance, and such. So yeah, we have the archetypes and all of that, but what about the combat itself, specifically the turn-based? How is it? If an enemy is not weaker than you and you can take them down quickly with your sword, your best bet is to sneak up on them to get an advantage, and then you enter something called squad mode. There you get a menu of different actions you can take. You can use your turn to use an item, to use an archetype ability, to guard, to use a melee attack, to skip, and to choose where you want to be in combat, in the front or in the back. Being in the front means you're gonna do more damage to the enemy, but it also means that you're gonna take more damage when the enemy hits back. Whereas if you're being in the back, you're gonna be protected from this massive damage that you're gonna get dealt with, but it also means that you're not gonna do as much damage to the enemy as well. You have a number of turns and crystals on top to show you how many you have left, and you can also use something called synthesis, where different archetypes can come together and execute some kick-ass abilities that are powerful against the enemies. And as much as I love button mashing, I have to say, having that with the slash of enemies that are weaker than me and then being able to enter squad mode and be more strategic, it really gave a good pacing to the game, so I'm not like just button mashing all the time. There are times where it's like, Bubbles, slow down, it's time to think a little bit, and I welcome that. Inside dungeons, you have rooms called Magla Hollow. These are safe spaces to use to save your game, to return to the entrance, to chat with your allies, to go to the academia, to learn more about archetypes and to switch between them. And there's also a cat inside dungeons that you can use to save or leave the dungeon to take some rest. The same cat is also found at the academia where you can pet it. But I have to point out that when you're doing the dungeons and also sometimes when you're going through cutscenes, it's gonna be a long time between your saves, and that can be frustrating at times, so make sure that you're always saving whenever you get the chance to. Now I want to move to the fun factors here, but before we do that, hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. If you're finding this video helpful, do me a favor and squish the like and subscribe buttons so you never miss out on the latest RPG news and reviews. So similar to Persona 3, 4, and 5, you have a calendar system here where you have an event with a deadline, so you need to organize your time between finishing up the quest and then using the remaining time for something else. So what can you use that remaining time on? You have your followers, which will sometimes want to talk to you, and when you hear them out and respond properly to them, they will increase their bond with you, which will progress your archetype tree with them. You can also earn mag from them. In the town itself, you have NPCs around with favors to ask you and side quests that are pretty entertaining, and that's a lot coming from me because I'm always so picky about side quests, and these ones were actually really fun. You can also pick up bounties, which are difficult monsters with some amazing rewards. You also have virtues to determine what type of leader you want to be, and this includes wisdom, imagination, tolerance, eloquence, and courage. Upgrading these virtues is gonna use up interactions as well as progress the time. You also have informants around that you can pay to gather information about the dungeons you're about to tackle, and that helps a lot when determining what archetypes to equip before you enter a dungeon. And all of these fun factors are tied closely to the calendar. Everything that you're gonna do is gonna take up time. Dungeons are accessed during the day, so whenever you go, you're gonna return back at night to rest up. And this makes you realize that every decision counts. You also have your home, which is a gauntlet runner that you can use to go from area to area. You can use it to advance your virtues, cook meals, and get to know your followers, as well as sleep to advance time. So we talked a lot about Metaphor ReFantazio, but the question is this the game for you? As always, we're gonna go with this game is for you if, not for you if, and my verdict. Metaphor ReFantazio is the game for you if you love long, story-heavy RPGs that are not afraid of having long cutscenes and in-depth dialogue to fully immerse you into the world. It's for you if you love a mix of in-depth turn-based combat where you have different classes to choose from, but also action combat where you get rid of smaller enemies very quickly, and this keeps the combat quick and smooth. It's for you if you love slice-of-life elements where you get to know your followers and improve your bond with them. It's for you if you love organizing time and choosing what you want to spend your time on. It's for you if you appreciate replayability value, if you plan to have multiple playthroughs, and it's for you if you love experimenting with combat, switching up archetypes, and team composition. However, it's not the game for you if you're not a fan of RPGs where cutscenes are gonna take your time, dialogue is long and heavy, and it's not for you if you don't like turn-based combat whatsoever and you think that this is only gonna use up action combat. It's not. It's also not for you if you don't enjoy slice-of-life elements where the game focuses on having deeper connections with your followers. As for me, I'm having such a great time with this game. It has surpassed all of the expectations that I've had for it. The mechanics are simple for me to understand because they're introduced very slowly without overwhelming me. The characters are so well written and interesting. The story is insane with plot twists hitting me left, right, and center. They've been keeping me on my toes, I'm telling you, and I'm just eager to see what's gonna happen next. And I'm a sucker for a good story. And Metaphor ReFantazio has its grips on me, so I cannot wait to play more and discover the story all the way to its ending. But enough about me. I want to know, what do you think about Metaphor ReFantazio? Are you gonna play it? Did you play it already? Did you try the demo? Let's talk all about it in the comment section. Thank you so much for Sega for sponsoring this video. Remember that you can try the game for yourself through its demo that I'm gonna leave for you in the description box and the pinned comment. And as always, thank you to my YouTube and Bubbly patrons for making videos like this possible, and a special shout out goes to the Game Dimension, Jake, Logan, and Stephanie for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.